back to this high school athlete nutrition podcast. This is Katie and Steph, and we are here talking about fueling and how to train harder, fuel smarter, and recover better. So today we are going to be talking on tryouts. So fueling for your tryout. And I can't believe that fall sports are already starting. I'm so excited.
It's one of my favorite times of year. I feel like every athlete's like, oh, okay, the season ends in like June, May, June-ish. And I'm like, well, does it really end? Because you have a month off and then mid-July,
Yeah.
even like pre-tryout workouts or summer workouts start, and then you have tryouts. So yeah, fall sports are my favorite. Although, as a New Yorker moving to the South, having soccer in the spring instead of the fall really throws me for a loop in the athletic world here.
Wait, you guys have soccer in the spring in Virginia?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, in Kentucky, we're still in the fall.
Yeah, soccer is a fall sport in my brain. But
Yeah.
here I am in Virginia. I'm like, oh no, it's a spring sport. High school wise. I mean, obviously club and travel is all year round.
Yeah.
But yeah, high school wise, it's spring.
Huh. So I am curious then, since soccer doesn't start till the spring, what is your favorite fall sport in Virginia?
I like learning about field hockey. I didn't play growing up. I have a lot of clients who play. So that's been really cool. I don't know. It's just I think swim has been something too. I've been learning a ton about. I have so many swimmers, and then myself, when I tore my ACL 6 years ago now, I swam as part of recovery. I've never had more like respect for swimmers because it's so hard. But learning that like they have different seasons, like long course and short course season, like all of this different stuff. It's just been, as a dietitian, I love connecting with athletes at all different levels because every level of competition is just so different.
Mhm.
And obviously I only played a couple of sports, but I love playing sports and watching sports. So I don't know, just so many fun things. And now, right now, as we're recording this, like we're in the middle of the World Cup. So like that's been my every day, get a couple of
Yeah.
World Cup games in. So yeah.
Oh, because I'm in the SEC, I feel like football season in Kentucky is I love it, but I'm with you on like getting to work with different sports has been so fun. I feel like I have gotten an influx of runners, and so
Oh,
I have learned so much about the difference between cross country season, indoor track, and outdoor track. And so
yeah.
for a lot of the clients I work with, cross country is the season, and
Yep.
that is coming up. That's what they're most excited about. And so I think there's a little bit more fun for us to, as the provider, like when my clients are getting ready to enter in season, like I'm getting just as hyped for their
Yeah.
season as they are, because it's just like this is what you work hard for.
Yeah, yeah, and I feel like we spend summer like, okay, we're building muscle or we're changing body composition, and then fall is when your athletes get to show up and be like, okay, I've worked on my nutrition, hydration, and movement all summer. Look at me, coach. It's just so cool. I don't know. Fall's fun. But they spend the summer having fun, resting, hopefully going on some vacations, and then fall just kicks it off. It's also
Mhm.
like our birthday. My birthday's in the fall. I say our because like my family, everyone's birthday is November to like February, early March. So we're all
Oh,
fall winter babies. And so the rest of the year we're like, da, 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 da. But then we are like, fall is our time.
I'm curious when you're thinking of tryouts, where where do you start with athletes? Because I feel like there's so much to cover.
Yes. Yes. There's a lot. And two, thinking about like what does the tryout schedule look like? Is it a single session, like an hour, 2 hour sessions? Some of my athletes, and this is how it was for myself growing up too, for like high school ball, we'd have, endurance training in the morning that was like optional in quotes because you want to go to look nice for the coach. And then in the afternoon to be like actual technical tryouts. So every sport's a little bit different what that looks like, but I think the number one thing that every athlete needs to start with is building their performance plate and just eating enough at meals. That would be my number one.
Okay. With eating enough at meals, where do you start with that plate? Like, is that performance plate different than maybe the plate they've been following during trainings during the summer?
Yeah, so during the summer, it just so depends. So I have one triathlete I'm working with now. As an aside, super proud of him because he was underfueled, disordered eating last year, and this year is coming out top as a triathlete. So I'm very excited for him. Anyway, he's revving up training
Hmm.
through the summer with the intention of tapering down in the fall because he's going off to college for the first time, and first semester at college is going to be chaotic. But just thinking about, like, for him, his baseline when you're really active is that hard training plate. So half a plate of carbs, quarter protein, quarter color, at least 2 servings of fat, ideally 3 or 4. But most athletes over the summer are baseline moderate training plate. So a third protein, a third carb, a third color, because you're still doing some training. And even if you're not training, say you're going to the beach or a vacation in the mountains, like you're hiking or you're walking the beach, you're active still. So we still need to give your body fuel for that muscle. So I think as we head into tryout season, leveling up from the moderate training plate to the hard training plate, if you need to. If you have those long training sessions, it's better to be overfueled and have that extra gas in the tank than to hit rock bottom mid training session.
Yeah, agreed completely. And I think hitting on the fact that every training session per school, per sport is going to look different.
Yeah.
And so the consistency across the board is going to be so, so important.
Yeah. Meals and then snacks. Fill in those
Mm,
gaps with snacks. I mean, gosh, even snacks have their own categories, right? Because you have like the anytime snack, pre workout, recovery snack. What would you recommend pre tryout? Like, what would you recommend they have leading up to training?
yeah. And man, my brain goes in like seven directions as soon as we talk about this because I think there's a level of, is your training at 10 o'clock or is it
Yeah.
at 6 a.m.? So let's say you have a 6 a.m. conditioning session in the morning. I think we have to start with you need to have a nighttime snack. But for that pre workout snack, now what we're talking about is those easy to digest carbs. So one of my best easy one is an applesauce go-go squeeze.
Yeah.
Like there is nothing as
Mhm.
easy. So we're looking at about 30 grams of carbs before you go in there. So for that, I'm thinking like an applesauce squeeze and a Gatorade that you're sipping on from after you brush your teeth as you walk into the door. That's going to get you there. But also, I think a lot of my athletes love fruit snacks. They also love a banana. A lot of my cross country runners love some graham crackers. That's
Yeah.
Teddy Grahams. Those are so delicious. The other recent one that I've been hearing a lot about from my soccer players are honey stingers. The waffles, delicious. So there's like five for you. And it's funny, different sports seem to like gravitate towards a little bit different snacks. All of those are great for any sport that you're going to do a tryout for in the morning.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is like quick sugar, quick energy, low protein, low fat, low fiber, quick carbs. I love that. Even like I love a freezer waffle. You could do a freezer waffle with a
Oh,
little bit of
yeah.
syrup or like nothing on it. Or I had one athlete where we were doing freezer waffle sandwiches. So it was like waffle, peanut butter and jelly or honey in the middle. Lots of quick carbs, but it just depends on your stomach and how much you're able to eat in the morning. To Katie's point, like the timing really matters.
And I think too, these aren't just morning snacks. We pointed out that morning, but I would tell you that all of these snacks are actually snacks that I want my athletes training their gut for so that they can be during workout snacks.
Training your gut's actually good. I did an episode on training your gut a while ago. I'll make sure to drop it in the show notes. Yeah, definitely something that you want to think about is like getting your body ready to figure out what works for you.
Yeah.
I love that. So they have breakfast ideally or lunch, like some sort of pre-workout meal 3 to 4 hours before. That quick snack 30 to 60 minutes before. What about during?
During, we're looking at doing a sport. I would recommend a sports drink or some type of electrolyte with sodium in it. And then we're looking at carbs. So
Mm,
during the big three that we need is going to be fluids, sodium, and carbohydrates. Those would be what I would be looking at. And so, if you're someone that doesn't like a sports drink, then you're packing something that is a snack like goldfish or pretzels that you can nibble on that's going to have the carbs and the sodium with it.
yeah, definitely. And you think like, we're talking especially fall sports, like your tryouts for summer. So you're extra sweaty and extra warm, and getting those electrolytes in are really, really important to prevent cramping, maintain your focus, concentration, reduce your injury risk. Like really important. Katie, again, like great recommendation on the electrolytes too. That's going to be key. And going back to training your gut and figuring out what works best during training. Is it a sports drink? Is it an applesauce? Is it a gummy? Is it a sports gummy that has electrolytes in it, right? Just figuring out what works best for you. The athlete I was mentioning earlier, the triathlete, we're talking about gels and getting him used to doing that sort of stuff just to bump up his electrolyte now, training through the summer. But his go-to has been sports drinks and graham crackers. So
Yeah.
carbs and electrolytes, just pairing that together, but really just figuring out what works best. Any other tips for mid?
I think for mid, the biggest tip I would have is to realize how important it is. I had no idea. Like, I never took during workout snacks with me, ever, even through college. And I feel like that was so hindering to my performance.
I mean, our experiences, I mean, Katie and I have hinted, but we've known each other for like 10 years now. And like, I feel like I can speak for both of us when I say this. This is why we do what we do, because we messed up so royally as high school athletes. Like, it should not be this hard for anybody. Like, keep it really simple.
Yeah. Do what's practical. The other thing I would say for during workouts that is a little bit of a practical tip is just assume you're going to forget. Like, if you assume you're going to forget, go ahead and pack 5 packs of gummies in your bag at the beginning of the week. I plan to forget everything. And so I have extras of stuff in my car all the time because I just really suck at remembering things. But then I'm so proud of myself for remembering to have done that in the first place.
Yeah, that's a great move. Like, in your sports bag, put like 5 or 6 things that could last you at least half the week. I love that tip. That's a good one.
What would you say after during workout fueling? Like, where do we go next?
Well, if you think about, like, if you have tryouts in there every single day, kickstarting that recovery window ASAP is key. And when we think about recovery, we think about the 3 R's. You want to rebuild with protein, refuel with carbs, and rehydrate with fluids. So you need those 3 things ASAP. However, after an intense session, you might not be hungry right away, and the thought of eating might make you feel terrible. That happens to me, like when I'm half marathon training or finishing an intense game. Like, the last thing I want to do after is eat. But you have to, because if you're doing 2 days, you have less than 12 hours to your next training session the next day. And so you've got to maximize that recovery time and start with liquids. It's typically my recommendation is, can you get a chocolate milk in that has an ideal ratio of protein and carbs and it's a fluid, just to get something going so that you can take an hour break, stretch, shower, relax, and then have that full recovery meal.
Yeah, agreed. With post-workout fueling, I think it's important to re-hit on what you just said of the carb part. I think so many of my athletes are great about grabbing a protein shake after their workout. And having a protein shake, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just not giving you everything that you need. And so I like, for example, like I will tell my athletes, I would rather you be doing the traditional Fairlife milk than the high protein Fairlife drinks, because the Fairlife traditional milk has about the same amount of protein, but it still has carbs in it.
Yeah.
And so some of these things we don't realize that we're not getting enough of. Or if you're having a protein shake, like, can we use actual milk in it instead of just using the protein powder? Getting those carbohydrates in.
Yeah, instead of water. Yeah, that's a good move. And like, if you have the protein shake, so say you love the core power, like I think they're great, add a granola bar or banana to the side.
Yeah.
Like, level up that carb. The example I always give athletes, I'm like, it's like a construction site. Think about everyone's function, right? So carbs, their function is energy. So think of them as like the construction workers and the team and the architects, like building everything up. But then the concrete and the metal, that's all the protein, that's structural. If you don't have the carbs or the energy of the people to put the structure in place, the protein's kind of ineffective. You need carbs and protein to come together to really build that beautiful skyscraper, which is your strong muscle. So just thinking about, they go hand in hand. And if you don't have the carbs, then your body just doesn't use that protein as effectively to rebuild and strengthen muscle.
That is a great analogy. That is perfect.
Awesome. Yeah, I think recovery is important. It's just so many people or athletes really forget about it because you're zapped.
Yeah. And I think with recovery too, we have more external factors that go into recovery fueling. So How long is your drive home? Are you a college student that's just walking back to your dorm? What, like, are you able to keep something in your car that's cold in a lunchbox, or is that not practical and we're looking at maybe a PB&J instead? And so I think remembering you're going to have different factors that are playing into it per person, and so it's not a one size fits all.
Yeah. Yeah, you just made me think about something. When you said like it's not practical to have like a cold lunchbox, I think about like sometimes I'll recommend my athletes like freeze a sports drink or bring a frozen Uncrustable or like, bring things that are frozen and will defrost while you're
Mhm.
out in the heat if you don't have access to like keeping things in a cold lunchbox, or even if you do, sometimes keeping the frozen things in there, they defrost and you can have like a Gatorade slushie by the end of the day. So something to think about.
Yes. I think for me, when it comes to like the frozen part, like packing a lunchbox seems like a lot of effort. But
Mm,
if all I have to do is like grab a frozen Gatorade, that feels like less effort.
yeah, totally.
Hmm. But also, I think to say like trail mix, where we have like that nuts mixed in, or like the PB&Js, those are
Mhm.
ones too that are pretty easily transported that you could eat on your drive home.
Yeah, yeah, simple.
Yeah. And that's, I think, the key to being successful. We don't need to make it this difficult.
Yeah, I agree.
What would you say are some like common pitfalls for athletes when it comes to snacking and fueling throughout the day?
Skipping.
Yes.
Not doing it. No, honestly, that's the biggest one, especially with early morning training sessions or tryouts. I think that's the biggest miss is like, oh, well, I just can't eat early in the morning. I think that's a big pitfall. It's just forgetting to even do it. And you're draining your battery. And think about like a smartphone. Like people panic when your phone goes on red. Your muscles do the same thing. Like you bonk out, you just get exhausted, your reaction time's terrible. We don't want your body to hit that red zone or even the yellow zone. Let's keep it up in the green and just be consistent. So I think a big one's just skipping.
Yeah. And I think skipping can be intentional or unintentional.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think about how spontaneous high school and college athletes' lives are. And I think there's a lot of just beauty in that. As an adult, especially you as a mom now, like I feel like your spontaneity probably has had to decrease a little bit. But like even as adults, it's not as often that I'm like, hey girl, you want to go to Chick-fil-A this afternoon in like 30 minutes?
Yeah.
And you get a response of yes. But like that's the beauty of high school and college summer breaks, is that spontaneity.
Yeah.
I do think though, as athletes, there's also a level of intentionality that has to go into it,
Mm-hmm.
where, you know what, if you're out with your girls and you're like, oh, I like need to be having something, tell them you want to stop at Starbucks, or you want to run into a gas station, or grab a few extra bars to put with you,
Yeah.
so that you're not caught in a space where you look down and you're like, oh man, it's been 7 hours since I had something, like, but my tan looks great. Like, let's have something beside of you so that you're
Yeah.
staying fueled and getting a tan at the same time.
Yeah. I love that you brought this up. I had this very same conversation with an athlete. Gosh, it was like a month or so ago before it got like really hot. And I was like, okay, you got to pause. You got to grab lunch or bring lunch. She's like, but the UV is perfect. And I was like, it doesn't matter. You have practice in the afternoon. It doesn't matter. Just prioritizing. Yes, we want you to enjoy the last few, weeks of summer break, but also your fuel is so important if you want to make that fall team as strong as possible.
Yeah, for sure. And I think too, when it comes to pitfalls, this isn't around fuel exactly, but I think sipping on fluids all day long is just as important as staying fed and nourished, because those fluids impact your hydration and that impacts your performance as well. What are some of your favorite little drinks to sip on during the summer?
Lemonade.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before. Lemonade, I'm a sucker for lemonade. I really, really love it. In fact, like last night, my husband finished we got a little like bottle of lemonade from this local place, and I was super excited. And then he finished it last night, and I was kind of upset. I was like, "That's my lemonade." But yeah, lemonade is one of my favorites. Or I love doing like a bunch of ice, a sparkling water, and lemonade. So it's like a sparkling lemonade. I love sparkles. So yeah, that would be
Yeah.
my favorite go to over the summer. Or a milkshake, just like straight
Mm,
milkshake.
yes. You were talking about your lemonade, and like I was thinking about my favorite drinks. And one of the things that I have been challenging myself this summer to is one of the rules I hold for a sports drink is if I'm doing physical activity for more than an hour in a day, that is when I know like I need to be having a sports drink.
Yeah.
And so I think we forget how active we are in the summer. So like yesterday I went to the gym and lifted, and my friends texted me and were like, "Hey, let's go play pickleball." And it was like the first day that it's been like 95 degrees. And I was like, yes. And my next thought was, okay, we can't just do water anymore. You have to now pack a Gatorade in with you because you're going to be doing activity for 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
And how many of our athletes are like, oh, we just went and played pickleball for 2 hours. And we know that like it's not as much of activity as going to a training, but it's
You're still
still movement.
sweating. Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
you're now doing like 3 to 4 hours of physical activity. And I
Mhm.
want that for you all. Like I want my athletes going and just playing fun, active activities. There's so much value in that.
Yeah.
But also, we have to still realize that like you're burning energy doing that. You're losing sweat doing that. Like you have to make sure you're still meeting your body's needs.
Definitely. Yep. That's it. Honestly, like mic drop. That's a good that's the best tip. Yeah. The more you do, the more fuel you need and the more hydration you need.
Hmm. Yeah. So I love summer. It's my favorite. You're talking about birthdays. Mine's in August. And so like for like my whole life, I'm like, don't wish your birthday here. Because once your birthday's here, it means that it's time to go back to school. It's always this like mixed kind of feelings.
Yeah, I think athletes listening, start tryouts strong. And believe me, your coaches will be impressed when you can last a full training session still with a lot of energy.
It's like as a coach, I see it when my girls start fading, when they're not getting back in position as quickly, like your coach is going to notice. And I always tell them like you might be still trying 100%, but like your body is showing that you're fading.
Yeah.
It's not the effort level that changes, it's like the physical ability to
Yeah.
like hang.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's what we want. We want you to all go out, make the team, but also not just make the team. We want you to get the starting position that you've been working hard for this summer to get, and to get that playing time that you've been working for.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. If you're going to go for it, be as competitive as possible.
Yes. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, make sure you check us out on our Instagrams, or if you guys are ever interested in getting more help with setting up a plan, feel free to reach out to Steph or I about setting up sessions. And happy fueling.